All right, just a quick update here. I got the body set in place. A buddy of mine came over, actually a couple of friends came over, and we put the body in place and did some spacing with the body. And this doesn't look right, so I got a little work to do, either figure out a different radiator or figure out a different way to mount that one. So I'm going to try a different way of mounting that. I think what I'm looking at doing, moving the engine back and mount the radiator between the frame rails and see if that'll take care of that. Doing that, it might let me use this other radiator. I'll have to play around with that and see, but that's going to be the next plan. So body's going to come back off, motor's going to get moved back, I'm going to get the radiator down and then see what things look like. I'll bring you guys up to speed on where I've been since the last video. So as I said in the last video, I had a couple of friends come over and we put the body in place out in the driveway, and I had the motor sitting in. I played around with those different radiator configurations and decided to go with the aluminum one, but sitting on that front cross member, it was going to be way too high. It was going to look terrible with the relationship to the body. So then I started playing around with dropping it down behind the cross member, and that was giving me the right look. Now, even with it on top of the cross, that front cross member, I was going to run into a problem that I hadn't thought of, and that was the fan blade. I mean, you can already see how far that's sticking up above. The fan blade was going to be way too close to the hoses. So, you know, the hoses would have been way up high and curved and gone down in, and that wasn't gonna work. So then I kind of pushed everything into the garage and did several hours of research online and just looking at different setups and different ideas on how to take care of the problem of having the fan cut through my radiator hoses. So what I ended up settling on was an electric fan. And I know that doesn't perfectly fit the total look I'm going for, but as I looked at all the different options, you know, you can move the fan down. Now on this one, you know, you can get it somewhat lower, but I really wanted to be able to run the Model T radiator shroud. So right now, in that position, I can run that shroud. So that kind of sold me on going this way with it. So I got a fan ordered, and I've got the dimensions of it and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and get a bracket ordered. I want to put an alternator on it, and now I know some guys are running these old 6-volt generators, and they claim you can run them with a battery. I know Iron Trap Garage is experimenting with that. I was thinking about that last night, and I just happened to see their new video, I think on their Forgotten Hot Rod, and they're playing around with that, and so far it seems to be working. But I'm going to go ahead, I think, and go with a GM alternator on here, and I want to be able to run a few things in the car, so electric wise. So I think having that alternator will be a good option. So with that in mind, I just started working on figuring out a way to mount the radiator, and then once that's done, then I can play around with where the engine needs to be. I can take my measurements. I know the fan that I got is about 3 inches deep, so I can leave my spacing that I need and go ahead and start mocking up the mounts for the motor. The motor, from where it is right now, it's going to come up about 1.5 inches once I get the mount made, and then get the rubber pad in there. It'll raise it up about 1.5 inches, which will be good. But now with the configuration of the radiator, and with the Model T shroud there, that's gonna work out great. I'll show you here how I made the bracket to hold the bottom of the radiator. So you can notice here I'm down below the front cross member. I'm up above or right almost at the top of the axle. So I'm not going to have to, if I drag the radiator, I'm going to have major problems. So because that means I'm going to tear the axle off of the thing. So that positioning will be good. I can put the top part of that T radiator in, and then I've got a couple ideas for finishing off that bottom section so it doesn't just look like a radiator hanging there. So I'll work on that. But let me go ahead and get this put into the tripod, and then I'll show you guys what I came up with. Get that radiator lifted out of the way. And it's just sitting in place right now. I haven't done the final mounting on it yet. A little bit of a puzzle to get it out. Get to turn it the right way. So I made a bracket that goes across down below. So that's some 1.5 inches by 3/16. And I've got it so that I've got an ear on each side and a 5/16 bolt coming up through there. So I'll pull that off and go over how I did that.